The stupidity and the ignorance of the gaming community never ceases to amaze me. There are people right now that have made reservations for the newly announced Valve Steam Deck, as they're calling it. Yeah, a lot of these people, they're scalpers, and they're putting the system up on eBay already for the prices, the charitable prices of $1,600, $1,000. You may as well say that's 1,500, 1,500, 1,000, 2,500, 1,500, 2,000, 1,000, 1,200, 800, 5,000. I mean, I just don't. Nothing really surprises me anymore about this community and this industry. How fucking stupid do you have to be to go and spend money like this for basically what's an unproven product? Because, this isn't the first time that Valve has released a device that try and, tiptoe their way into the console market. This isn't the first time. They tried it with the Steam machines, which turned out to be a colossal failure. And now they're trying to take the Nintendo route, and release something that's like a dedicated gaming PC, but just in the console form. And this one you can carry around with you wherever you go. And they're talking about the value of this thing as far as what you're actually getting in terms of pricing and whatnot. But there's small little tidbits of information that people aren't really paying attention to that makes the Steam Deck really a ripoff if you really just analyze it for what it is. And I'm gonna go over some of the issues with this thing. But before I get into it, for anyone who's thinking about spending all this money, $1,000, $2,000, $4,000, $1,500, $5,000 up on this Steam Deck, you're a dumbass. You're stupid. You're dumb. Don't reproduce. Don't have children. Just don't. Just don't multiply, okay? Because you're an idiot. If you choose to spend this type of money on this, once again, this goddamn scam is what it is. So here's the thing. I found a very good article on PCGamer.com. The article reads, Steam Deck Pros and Cons is a big handheld what PC gaming needs. Well, obviously the idea of what the Steam Deck is a good idea. The problem with this device is that it's not necessary. And the reason it's not necessary is because of gaming laptops. Gaming laptops are already portable. And not only are they already portable, but they're far more powerful than what this thing is going to be. And gaming laptops are more functional. You can use them for pretty much anything. This thing, we don't know what the limitations of the Steam Deck is going to be, other than what I believe his name is Gabe Newell, what he claimed that you can do with the Steam Deck. But even with some of the pros that has been announced for it, it's still not worth it. But let me go through this article right here before I get too ahead of myself. Basically, what the Steam Deck is, it's more or less a Switch, a Nintendo Switch for PC gamers. It's AMD powered, that plays all your Steam games. AMD, so basically it has the same architecture as the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. As far as the GPU goes, it has AMD architecture in it. It has RDNA architecture in it, and the CPU is an issue, but like I said, I'll get into all of that. Now, as far as what the OS is going to be, it's going to have a standard Steam OS. Apparently, you can I guess uninstall that or and replace it with Windows, which sounds great, but there's an issue that comes with that alone, which is space. And like I said, I'm going to get into all of that. Now, as far as like some of the arguments that this article brings up, first of all, it's only on a 7-inch screen. And Mr. Tyler Wilde, the executive editor of this website, his argument is that, why not just game on a smartphone or a tablet or a Switch? You can play games on those. Someone named Morgan basically responded that phones and tablets are good gaming devices, but they can't run AAA games like Control and Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. But does that really matter for the Steam Deck if it only has 4 or 5 hours of battery life? But then James Davenport, the editor, argued that, well, you can plug it in. And of course, the con for that is, if you're plugging it in all the time, why not just get a gaming laptop? If you're going to leave this thing plugged in all the time, why not just get a gaming laptop? It really doesn't make much sense. Because modern gaming laptops, especially like the 30 series laptops, the newer 30 series laptops, they're already far more powerful than what the Steam Deck is. This apparently is a pro. It's really not, but this person argues, James, I don't want to bring a gaming laptop to a bar. Well, why would you want to bring anything related to gaming to a bar? What purpose does that really serve? Why would you go to a bar to play video games? And of course the con is, I don't really want to game at a bar. Because it's fucking stupid, right? It doesn't really make any sense. And Morgan argues that you can use it in bed or on your couch too. But you can also do that with a gaming laptop, which again is far more powerful than the Steam Deck. And then Tyler responds, I get the appeal of leaving your desk, but a 400 plus hunk of a screen with the games I already have somehow doesn't feel like the best solution. So basically his argument is that if you already game on PC and you already have like either a desktop, especially if you already have a desktop or if you already have a gaming laptop, which I fit that description, this thing isn't really offering any value that's actually worth it to pick it up. And I think that really leads into what the big problem with the Steam Deck is. And like I said, I'm going to get into all that. And according to James, he says that we're forgetting that this isn't just for existing PC gamers. $400 is one hell of a deal for an entry-level gaming PC that just works. Except it's really not. It's really not. And Morgan says if it works, Valve's hardware has been hit and miss. Remember Steam machines? And he's right. Yeah, Steam machines were a big letdown for a number of different reasons. And Tyler says, whoa, double con, but I have to concede that James makes a good point. This device is clearly not for me, but it is an interesting proposition for someone who doesn't already have a gaming PC, but wants to play Steam games. They can use it like a console with the dock. But see, that raises another issue because the dock is sold separately, and clearly if you want the best value out of this thing, and you really are buying it as a cheap gaming PC, but you want to hook it up to like an external monitor or a TV screen, you're going to have to buy the dock. And I find it ironic that Valve has not, they haven't revealed the price of what the dock is actually going to cost at retail. So the rest of it is basically BS. But yeah, this raises quite a few concerns. For one, the Steam Deck is, if you really want the best value out of it, you have to get the dock, and they haven't announced what the price is for it. So basically, you're buying an incomplete product at launch, because if you want the best value, once again, you're going to need that dock. Another thing is that this thing internally, when it comes to the components, it's not beating gaming laptops. It's just not. And the internal components, such as like the GPU, you can't switch those things out with the Steam Deck the way you can with a gaming laptop or a desktop. That means you have to rely on external storage options, and And that creates a whole nother problem right there. Another issue with it is the button placement that's up on it. The face buttons and the D-pad are located directly, like right next to the thumbsticks, and that's because they tried to force these trackpads up on it. And I'm just like, that's a bit strange to me. They should have made it more ergonomic as far as like the button placement. And the fact that it's only, there's only a 7-inch screen here that you're really messing around with. The screen on this thing is no larger than my Kindle Fire HD. It's really a letdown in that department. I could see if it was like 8 inches, 9 inches, but no, it's really a letdown that you're forced to play on this 7-inch screen. And that's another reason why the dock is important. And then only having a battery life of 4 to 5 hours, that's something else that really doesn't make any sense. It's another reason why this isn't really worth it at the price that Valve is asking for. And so we have the 3 storage options here with the Steam Deck. You have the standard 400 gigabyte model, which has standard 64 gigabytes of RAM in it. And then you have the upgraded version, which is $529. That comes with 256 gigabytes of RAM. And then you have the most expensive option, which is $649, and that comes with 512 gigabytes of RAM, as well as an anti-glare glass, I guess, for the screen. And you get some exclusive virtual shit that doesn't really matter. So already, the standard version that has the 64 gigabytes, yeah, that's bullshit already. And the reason that's bullshit is because 64 gigabytes is a joke. Most video games, most modern video games, they're large in file size. With 64 gigabytes, you're not going to be able to install 2 games upon this thing, let alone 3 or 4 or 5. It's just not going to happen. Certain video games are way larger than 64 gigabytes. As someone who games on Steam, it has over 300 games on Steam. Certain games such as Star Wars Battlefront 2, Doom Eternal, Mortal Kombat 11, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, games like that, they're all much larger than 64 gigabytes, especially when you factor in, the updates, the patches, and whatnot. So 64 gigabytes is a joke. Then if you want to, change out the OS, the system OS, from the standard Steam OS that this thing is going to be packaged with, right out of the factory, and you want to replace that OS with, say like a Windows 10, something like that, which apparently is possible on this thing. Installing something like Windows 10 or Windows 11 whenever that comes out, that's going to eat up your entire 64 gigabytes alone, right there. So another thing that is in small print is this eMMC internal storage, and so basically this thing is already out of date, just with the standard model. eMMC is basically a slower architecture. Any modern gaming PC, be it a laptop or a desktop, or even the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, they all use an internal storage with NVMe. And basically what that means is that with NVMe, games are able to load faster. When you combine that with the RDNA architecture, that's how you get the super fast loading speeds and all that. You're not going to get that with eMMC, with the internal storage. It's just not going to happen. And so basically the $400 standard edition is bullshit. It's a waste of money. And so minimum, you're going to want to have that 256 gigabytes, but then there's another problem with that already. And that's the fact that they're charging $529. For the value of this thing, when you actually look at the internal components, the specs of the GPU and the CPU, it's just not worth it to spend over $500 on this thing when you can easily get a PS5 or an Xbox Series X. And that's coming from someone who is pro PC over console. it would make more sense to go out and spend $500 on a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X over this thing for $500, which is far less powerful. And then you have the ridiculous $649 500 gigabyte RAM version, which is just completely fucking absurd. That's far more expensive than the PS5 and the Xbox Series X with the, just the base price of those systems. And yet this thing is far weaker than those. And the only thing you're getting is more standard memory. It's a ripoff. It's a joke. And just as I was saying right here, eMMC storage isn't as fast as NVMe SSD storage. It draws less power, but you're not getting, a fast modern gaming performance with this. That means if you get the standard version, games are going to load slower. They're probably going to run slower. They're going to operate slower than what should be, the standard, what should be acceptable in this day and age with technology. And so, there's too many cons with this thing that outweigh the pros. It's overpriced. Design wise, it's strange because, like I said before, the face buttons, they're like right next to, the Joy-Cons right here. And then when it comes to things like, drifting, which has been an issue with, modern, like the DualSense controller and everything. Unlike the DualSense or, a controller like that, where, if something goes wrong with the controller, you can just get it replaced. If something goes wrong with one of these thumbsticks, you're going to have to replace the whole thing. You're going to have to send it in, probably the Valve and or some other company, and have them fix it, or just buy a whole new system. And then, like I said, if you look at the actual components of this thing, it runs on Zen 2 architecture, just like the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, but it only has 4 cores and 8 threads. The PS5, the Xbox Series X, they have 8 cores, 16 threads. Modern gaming laptops and modern gaming desktops also have 8 cores, 16 threads. So this thing is already outdated. It's basically as powerful as a PlayStation 4. It doesn't even begin to remotely compete with the PS5 or the Series X or a modern gaming laptop or desktop. As far as standard memory goes, it has DDR5 RAM. They're already in GDDR6. So, and that's typical memory once again. That's not only just in the current gen consoles with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, but that's also standard memory that's located in modern gaming laptops and modern gaming desktops. So again, I'm not really seeing the value with this thing at all. The 7-inch screen is disappointing. It's a 1200 by 800 display. Like I said, I see some of the pros with it. I like the fact that, it's not just a system that can be used for Steam, but you can also use other launchers up on it. The main one would be like the Epic Games launcher. So you can play games that you bought from the Epic Games store, and you can also play those games up on the Steam Deck. And so, that's great value right there. I also like the fact that you can install a completely different operating system, like with Windows 10. So, that's another great, pro right there. And, it seems like it has enough control options up on it. If you want to use it as more of a gaming, like a PC gaming device, that's why they put those trackpads up on there. It has built-in microphones and all that. So, there is some value here, but again, if you really want one of these things, it makes no sense due to the standard storage that's in here, as well as the eMMC internal storage. It makes no sense to go with the standard edition. So minimum, if you're smart, you're going to want to get the 250 gigabyte version. But if you decide to get that, if you decide to go with that option, you're now paying essentially the price of one of the current gen consoles for a device that's far less powerful than either the PS5 or the Xbox Series X. And then if you're dumb enough to go and spend the $649 for the most expensive option, at that point you may as well just save and buy a gaming laptop, which again is far more powerful and capable of other things. So again, I'm not really understanding what, the purpose of this thing at all. And even if you don't have a gaming PC, like say they're marketing this towards a new audience, people who typically aren't PC gamers and just don't have the money to get into PC gaming. So anyone who fits that description is going to take a look at the the standard the $400 version of the Steam Deck. They're going to think, oh, this is great value. Now I can get into PC gaming for a reasonable price. Except that's not really the case, because if you want the most value out of this thing, once again, even if you go with the standard edition, you're still going to have to buy the dock for it. Then you're also going to have to rebuy games that you probably already own on console via Steam. And Steam games are not cheap unless you're buying them through a sale. And then on top of that, you're going to have to buy some kind of storage, external storage, with some kind of SD card. So that's three things alone that's going to be added to the price of this thing. And that also goes for the $500 edition and the $600 edition. And so really what this thing is a scam. Not to mention, we don't know what the actual hardware issues are going to be with this thing when it comes out. And so if you want the best out of this system, you're going to have to pay a large ass amount of money over the initial asking price. And Valve is already having issues with scalping, similar to Sony and Microsoft with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, where they've made these ridiculous reservations, and motherfuckers are already going up on eBay and marking up the price of this thing. And I'm looking at some of these prices. The listings that where people are asking for like $2,000 or higher. You can get some of the strongest gaming laptops for that price. That listing that said $5,000, I'm actually trying to find it right now. So right here, for this price right here, for $5,000, you can buy the strongest gaming laptop that there is. With I think it's the MSI Stealth. I know it's an MSI model of some sort. Yeah, you can get that for $1,000 cheaper than this. In fact, for that price, you can get a 17-inch Ultra HD 4K 4K supported system with an i9 processor, an 11,000 series processor, with a 3080 graphics card, 2 terabyte NVMe SSD, and you can get that for $4,000. And some asshole on eBay wants idiots, gullible morons, to spend $5,000 on this thing, which is far less powerful than this. I mean, when you use common sense, it really doesn't make any sense to support this thing at all. Like I said, there are some pros, but there's nothing that the Steam Deck will offer that a dedicated gaming laptop or desktop can't do. And if you're willing to spend this much money on a gaming device, you may as well just buy the PlayStation 5 or the Xbox Series X, both of which are far more powerful than this. It's a scam. You've been bamboozled if you're going to spend this much money on this. And this is what Valve wants. They jacked up the price for a reason on this thing. So, like I said, I actually want to try the Steam Deck myself, but I'm not going to spend $500 on this. It doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense for me to do that. And I'm damn sure not spending $600 upon it. I would rather just buy a more powerful gaming laptop. It doesn't make any sense. But again, gamers have never been the smartest bunch. So people are going to do what they want to do. And I guarantee you already have 11 watchers for this listing alone. There are people out there that are going to be stupid enough to spend money on this thing and pay scalpers well over what the asking price is at retail, simply because they just have the attention span of a child and they can't wait for this thing to be marked down at the price it should be at retail. So it is what it is. Just some more fuckery from the gaming industry. What else is new?